Welcome to Retreat with Charlene. This is your time now to step out of the noise of the world, out of the movement of obligation, out of the endless tending to what must be done, and to enter for a little while the quiet chamber of sacred remembrance. There is nowhere to rush now, nothing to solve in this moment, nothing to fix, nothing to defend, nothing to prove. The outer world may continue in its own rhythm, but you are being invited inward now to the place where the spirit remembers what the hurried mind forgets. Allow the body to become still. Let the hands soften. Let the jaw release. Let the tongue rest. Let the eyes become heavy. Let the shoulders descend. And without forcing anything, simply notice the breath, that it is already breathing you. You do not need to improve it. You do not need to deepen it. Simply notice. Air arriving, air leaving, life entering, life continuing without your command. Again, air arriving, air leaving, the chest rising, the chest falling. The quiet proof that something greater than personal effort has been sustaining you all along. You have worked hard. You have carried much. You have thought much. You have worried much. You have tried to hold many things together. And for this little sacred span of time, you are permitted to set the load down. Imagine now that you are standing at the threshold of an ancient temple, not built by human hands, but formed of stillness, memory, and light. A temple that exists beyond clocks, beyond appointments, beyond demands, beyond the restless pressure to keep becoming something. Before you is a wide stone entrance, cool, silent, timeless. You understand without words that within this temple there is only truth. No performance enters here. No masks are required here. No explanations are needed here. Only your honest presence. You step across the threshold, and as you do, you feel the peace of the outer world fall behind you, like garments being removed, like noise becoming distant, like a river of demands slowly moving farther away. Inside this temple, the air is calm, The light is soft. Everything moves slowly. Everything breathes patience. Everything whispers, "You may rest here." Walk slowly inward. With each step, feel your nervous system receiving the signal. There is no emergency here. There is no chase here. There is no threat here. Only sacred pause. One step, another, and another. Feeling the floor beneath your feet, steady, ancient, reliable. As you walk, you notice that the walls of this temple are not walls at all. They are made of memory, living memory, moments from your life resting like soft images in the stone. Some bright, some tender, some difficult, some unfinished, all held without judgment. This temple knows where you have been. It knows what you have survived. It knows what no one saw. It knows what you carried silently. It knows the nights you stayed awake. It knows the tears swallowed. It knows the confusion endured. It knows the disappointments hidden beneath composure and strategy here. You do not feel accused by memory. You feel witnessed by it. There is a difference. The world often asks memory to become suffering, but the temple asks memory to become understanding. Continue walking inward toward the greater circular chamber at the center. There is a single flame burning there, steady, golden, unmoved by wind, unmoved by time. This flame represents the enduring part of you, the part that has remained alive through every season, the part that did not disappear when things became difficult, the part that still burns even after disappointment, aging, heartbreak, confusion, loss, and fatigue. Come sit before this flame now. You need bring nothing but yourself. Sit, rest, breathe. As you sit before this steady light, say quietly within, I have entered the sacred pause. Again, I have entered the sacred pause. The world can wait. The mind can soften. The body can loosen. The soul may now speak. Great Spirit, Source of all, infinite presence behind breath and being, I come now in humility, not to ask, not to bargain, not to demand, but first simply to remember. Remember where I have walked. Remember what has carried me. Remember what has shaped me. Remember what I did not see while I was surviving. Let the breath grow softer. Let the body grow heavier. Let the listening grow deeper. For now, we begin the long remembering. Remain seated before the steady flame. There is no need to hurry. The temple does not move by clock time. It moves by readiness. And something within you is ready now to look back. Not in order to reopen pain, but in order to reorganize distance traveled. So often the human mind measures life by what is still unresolved, what is still missing, what is still uncertain, what has not yet arrived. And in doing so, it forgets to measure how far the soul has already come. Tonight, or this morning, or this sacred hour, wherever you have entered, we are not measuring what is absent. We are measuring what has been endured. Bring before you your inner eye now, the earliest version of yourself you can sense. Not necessarily as a perfect picture, perhaps only as a feeling. A younger you, a smaller you, a more vulnerable you, a self who knows less than you know now. See that younger being. Observe the innocence there. Observe the uncertainty. Observe the wanting to be loved, the wanting to be safe, the wanting to understand the rules of the world. That younger self could not foresee all that life would ask, could not foresee the disappointments, could not foresee the betrayals, could not foresee the burdens, could not foresee the responsibilities, could not foresee the griefs that would come one day, arrived uninvited. And yet, that younger self walked forward anyway, step by step, year by year, learning, falling, adapting, trying, hurting, hoping, beginning again. Let the scenes rise gently now. No force. Simply allow memory to bring what it will. Moments of childhood, moments of adolescence, moments of longing, moments of not belonging, moments of trying to be enough, moments of confusion, moments of joy, moments when the first heart learned that life contains both tenderness and sharpness. You have lived through seasons that once felt impossible while you were inside them. There were days you thought, I do not know how I will get through this. And yet, the days kept moving. And somehow, so did you. Bring to mind now the first major sorrow that shaped you. Perhaps a loss, perhaps a rejection, perhaps a humility, perhaps a fracture in trust, perhaps a season of feeling unseen. You need not name it out loud. Just acknowledge, yes, that was one of the roads. Feel what it means that you are here now, remembering it, which means you crossed it. Not untouched, not unchanged, but crossed it. There were seasons of caring what no one understood. There were seasons of smiling while internally exhausted. There were seasons of trying to hold family, work, relationships, identity, finances, health, and inner confusion all at once. There were seasons when others leaned upon you, while you yourself had nowhere obvious to lean. And still, you kept rising, perhaps not gracefully, perhaps not always joyfully, but faithfully enough to remain in motion. See now the many versions of yourself, standing one behind another in a long line. The child, the teenager, the young adult, the one in love, the one in heartbreak, the one in ambition, the one in collapse, the one in caregiving, the one in rebuilding, the one in confusion, the one in courage, the one in quiet endurance, all of them standing behind you now. You are not only oneself. Take this in. There were moments when another person might have expected you to stop. Moments when giving up would have made sense. Moments when numbness would have been understandable. Moments when bitterness could have become permanent residence. And still, some hidden current kept you moving. Breathe with that now. Something kept me moving. Again, something kept me moving. Even when I did not understand, even when I did not feel strong, even when I did not feel guided, something kept me moving. Let tears come if they come. Let warmth come if it comes. Let numbness be present if numbness is what is here. Nothing needs to be manufactured. We are only honoring the road. Look now upon the long corridor of your life behind you. Not every detail, only the felt sense of distance, years, decades, turns, unexpected chapters, people who entered, people who vanished, homes, workplaces, illnesses, recoveries, arguments, beginnings, funerals, births, ordinary Tuesdays that seemed insignificant at the time, yet shaped the person sitting here now. So much has happened, so much, and the ordinary mind rarely stops long enough to bow to that fact. Bow now, not in ego, not in self-congratulations, but in sober acknowledgement. I have walked a long road. Again, I've walked a long road. And I am still here. Feel the flame before you, steady, golden, witnessing, as if the divine itself is saying, yes, I saw every mile. There were private wars no one applauded, silent initiations no one named, invisible victories no one celebrated, yet heaven recorded them all. You are not asked now to relive every wound only to cease pretending that the road was small. It was not small, and neither is the being who crossed it. Sit in that understanding. Breathe in that understanding. Let the body register. I have already survived much. Again, I have already survived much. And from this honest remembering, gratitude begins to open, not as performance, but as reverence. Remain here in the temple. The flame still burns. Your breath has slowed. Your body has begun to trust the stillness. And from this place of softened remembering, another layer becomes visible. For there is more to your story than what visibly happened. There is also what did not happen. There are roads you did not go down, the collapses you narrowly missed, the mistakes that have become far greater, perhaps, the moments delayed, the meetings interrupted, the plans that fell apart, the doors that would not open, the people who left, the invitations that dissolved, the opportunities that disappeared before they matured. At the time, many of these felt like inconvenience. Some felt like injustice. Some felt like heartbreak. Some felt like humiliation. Some felt like punishment. Some felt like abandonment. But time has a way of revealing what the immediate moment conceals. And what once looked like denial was often redirection. What once looked like delay was often protection. What once looked like loss was often the invisible hand refusing to let you enter a corridor that would have cost you more than you knew. And the mind now drifts through the unfinished chapters of your life. Bring to awareness the person you wanted and did not keep, the opportunity you chased and did not secure, the timing that did not line up, the move that did not happen, the dream that dissolved, the answer that never came, the approval that was withheld, the plan that unraveled despite your effort. See these not through the eyes of disappointment, but through the eyes of sacred distance, and quietly within, what if not all closed doors were punishments? What if some were guardians? What if some denials were hidden rescue? These are people you could have trusted longer, who might have harmed your peace more deeply. There are financial decisions you nearly made that could not have bound you to years of strain. There are emotional attachments that might have consumed your clarity. There are environments that could have depleted your vitality. There are conversations that, had they gone differently, would have sent you into entirely different timelines. You do not know every danger you were spared. No human mind does. The invisible mind only sees what occurred. But the sacred mind begins to bow before the possibility that unseen intelligence was operating beyond immediate preference. Think now of all the times you said, "Why is this happening? Why is this delayed? Why is this not working? Why am I losing this? Why am I being blocked?" And perhaps years later, you look back and understand, that would not have served me. That would have cost me. That was not the right place. That was not the right person. That was not the right season. Some revelations came clearly. Others remain mysteries. But even mystery can become a place of reverence. For must everything be explained before it can be trusted? Or can the soul begin to recognize that not only seeing the full map does not mean there was no map? Imagine now that around the perimeter of this temple, there begin to appear quiet figures made of light, not frightening, not invasive, simply present. Guardians of timing, guardians of sequence, guardians of interruption, guardians of sacred no. They stand as symbolic witnesses to all the moments in your life when something greater than preference intervened. The missed phone call, the delayed meeting, the intuition that said no, the exhaustion that kept you home, the person who did not choose you, the contract that did not finalize, the relocation that stalled, the relationship that dissolved, the path that looked promising yet would not hold. Each guardian carries one message, Not all absence is abandonment. Again, not all absence is abandonment. Not all interpretation is failure. Not all loss is punishment. Sometimes divine order removes your hand from what your immediate hunger would cling to. Sometimes the law withholds what the personality insists upon. Sometimes the gate closes because the field beyond it is not your field. Breathe this in deeply. How many things have I called unfortunate that may in truth have been merciful? Let the question echo. No need to answer. Only let the possibility soften the old complaints. How many delays preserved me? How many departures preserved me? How many unanswered prayers preserved me? Feel now what happens in your chest when resistance loosens its grip on the past. There begins to emerge a subtler gratitude. Not gratitude only for what was given, but gratitude for what was withheld. This is a mature gratitude, a gratitude not dependent on immediate comfort, a gratitude rooted in trust that intelligence exceeds preference. Whisper quietly within, "Thank you for what I did not understand. Thank you for what was withheld. Thank you for what was redirected. Thank you for unseen protection. Again, slowly, thank you for unseen protection. Let this sentence move through old disappointments like warm light entering closed rooms, not erasing memory, but changing the meaning memory carries. The temple grows even quieter now. The guardians remain. The flame remains. Your breath remains. And something inside is beginning to bow before the holy possibility that you have been accompanying far more than you ever knew. Stay seated in the quiet center. You have looked behind. You have looked into the unseen. And now your gaze gently returns to what is here, to what has been given, to what surrounds you so regularly that the human mind can become blind. to its sacredness. One of the great habits of the restless mind is adaptation. It becomes accustomed to breath, accustomed to shelter, accustomed to food, accustomed to warm water, accustomed to clothing, accustomed to familiar faces, accustomed to the functioning body, accustomed to another sunrise. And what becomes unfamiliar often becomes invisible. But in this temple, nothing ordinary remains ordinary. Here, we slow enough to see provision as miracle. Bring awareness first to the breath moving in and out of you right now. So constant, so faithful, so often ignored. Thousands upon thousands of breaths have entered this body without ceremony, without applause, without your command. And yet, each one has been a gift of continuation. Thank you for breath. Thank you that life continues in me. Bring awareness now to the body itself. Not the body judged, not the body compared, not the body criticized. Simply the body that has served your vessel. This body that has walked roads, lifted burdens, held children, held grief, worked jobs, driven highways, climbed stairs, sat through waiting rooms, made meals, embraced people, survived illness, continue through fatigue. Even where the body aches, even where the body has aged, even where the body bears evidence of time, still it has served. Still it has carried consciousness. Still it has kept you present in this earthly field. Thank you for this vessel. Thank you for all the miles it has carried me. Now let the mind turn to the simple structures that support daily life. The roof overhead, walls that shield from weather, a bed, a chair, a table, shoes, a kitchen, running water, heat in cold months, coolness in warm months, a door that closes, a window that opens, electric light after sunset. These things become routine, Routine breeds forgetfulness, but there are many on this earth for whom these are not guaranteed. So we stop now and we see. I am provided for in many ordinary ways. Thank you for shelter. Thank you for warmth. Thank you for water. Thank you for the humble structures that hold my life. Bring to mind now the labor that has sustained you, the jobs worked, the tasks completed, the bills paid, the mornings risen for, the responsibilities handled, perhaps imperfectly, perhaps with weariness, but handled. Labor is not merely burden. Labor is participation in order. It is the exchange through which earthly stability is often maintained. And there were seasons when you kept working, even while carrying inner storms. You showed up. You continued. You made things happen because they had to happen. And much of what surrounds you now exists because of those repeated acts of showing up. Thank you for the strength to labor. Thank you for the means to provide. Thank you for the dignity of useful effort. Thank you for the people. Not in dramatic, idolized terms, but simply those who have formed parts of the architecture of your life. The ones who taught you something. The one who stood behind you in one season. The one who fed you. The one who listened. The one who repaired. The one who encouraged. The one who carried a burden with you. The one who gave an opportunity. The one who smiled on a difficult day. No life is built entirely alone. Even the fiercely independent soul has been touched by invisible contributions. Words, hands, meals, money, time, advice, presence, patience. Thank you for every human instrument of support. Even if some are gone now, their imprint remains. Bring gratitude also to the wisdom you now carry. Wisdom is expensive. It is purchased by living, purchased by mistakes, purchased by consequences, purchased by observation, purchased by surviving your own innocence. You know things now. There is no textbook that could have taught in the same way. Discernments, boundaries, timing, silence, patience, reading people, reading seasons, knowing when to move and when to wait. This too is provision, the provision of earned understanding. Thank you for the wisdom. Thank you for what experience has taught me. Now pause here and simply feel the accumulation, breath, body, shelter, water, labor, means, people, wisdom, another day, another chance, another sacred interval to be conscious. So much is present, so much. And gratitude begins not by adding more, but by finally seeing what already is. Let the chest soften. Let the throat soften. Let the forehead soften. And whisper quietly, may I never become numb to blessing. Again, may I never become numb to blessing. May I recognize the sacred hand in ordinary provision. May I live with reverence for what sustains me. The flame before you grows warmer now. The temple brighter because gratitude itself is light. And the soul, when it truly sees, begins naturally to bow. Remain in the warmth of the temple. You have bowed to provision. You have remembered visible blessings. But there is another gratitude that belongs not to comfort, but to refinement. This gratitude is not naive. It does not pretend pain was pleasant. It does not deny that certain seasons hurt. It does not ask you to call suffering enjoyable. That would not be wisdom. That would only be avoidance wearing spiritual clothing. No, this gratitude is more sober than that. It says, I would not have chosen many of the roads I walked, but I can see now they changed me. Bring before the inner eye now the seasons that stripped you, the seasons when trust broke, the seasons when someone disappointed you, the seasons when money was tight, the season when health wavered, the season when loneliness felt thick, the seasons when plans collapsed, the seasons when the image of you thought you were, but could no longer hold. There are chapters of life They do not merely inconvenience us, they dismantle us. They expose where we were dependent. They exposed what we idolized. They exposed where illusion had become shelter. Closed doors are one thing, but stripping seasons are deeper. These are the times when life removes not just an outcome, but an identity. The dependable ones become exhausted. The needed ones become unseen. The strong ones becomes uncertain. The planner becomes powerless. The giver becomes empty. The achiever becomes halted. The rescuer becomes unable to rescue. And in those seasons, there is often anger, resistance, questioning, humiliation, a deeper interest, protest. What must and why is this happening? You are not wrong for having felt those things, and any sincere soul does. But now, from sacred distance, we ask a larger question. What was being forged in me there? Was patience being forged? Was humility being forged? Was discernment being forged? Was surrender being forged? Was truth being forged? Was it a more stable center being forged that no longer depended entirely on internal certainty? Often the soul cannot become spacious while life remains entirely comfortable. Comfort tends to preserve familiar patterns. Trial interprets the familiar. Trial forces examination. Trial removes confidence and false support. Trial pushes the being inward, where deeper foundations must be discovered. Think of who you were before certain disappointments, and think of who you have become after. Not better in every moment, not instantly enlightened, but changed. Less naive patterns, perhaps. More discernment. More inwardly anchored. Less impressed by appearances. Less eager to chase every shiny invitation. More able to sit in silence. More able to recognize what matters. Pain has a severe classroom, but it teaches with unforgettable clarity. There are truths you know now, because life insists you learn them, not because you wanted the lesson, because the lesson arrived. Thank you for what hardship revealed. Thank you for what disappointment exposed. Thank you for what stripping made undeniable. Bring to mind now the people who left your life, some gently, some painfully, some through conflict, some through distance, some through death, some through the natural ending of a chapter. At the time, it may have felt like tearing, but absence teaches too. It teaches where attachment had become dependency. It teaches what remains when familiar companionship is gone. It teaches that life keeps moving even when the cast changes. Thank you for the people whose leaving taught me truth. Now bring to mind the humiliations. Yes, the moments that bruised pride, the moments you misjudged, the moments you trusted wrongly, the moments you looked foolish, the moments you had to begin again, the moments life proved you were not in control. Humiliation is bitter medicine, yet it has become one holy function. It cracks the throne of ego. It reminds the human personality that it is not the master of all sequence, and from that cracking, a quieter humility can emerge. Thank you for the undoing of false pride. Bring now the griefs, losses, funerals, illnesses, broken assumptions, the days that divided life into before and after. Grief deepens a person. No one asks for it, but those who have grieved sincerely often begin to see with less trivial, less pettiness, less haste, because grief teaches the temporary nature of all forms. And strangely, this can make reverence grow. Thank you for the griefs that taught me tenderness. Sit now with the larger truth. Nothing was wasted. Not every event was pleasant. Not every chapter was desired. But from the perspective of sacred refinement, nothing was wasted. Every challenge became material. Every loss became instruction. Every confusion became eventual insight. Every breaking became an opening somewhere. This is the alchemy of the soul. Lead becoming gold. Weight becoming wisdom. Wound becoming depth. Resistance becoming prayer. Whisper now. What once felt like suffering has become sacred instruction. Again, what once felt like breaking has become initiation. What once felt bitter has become medicine for the spirit. Feel the body receive this. There is a maturity entering now, a steadier gratitude, no one longer dependent on easy circumstances. One that says, I trust that even my hard roads have served. The flame before you burns brighter still, not because life was easy, but because transformation has occurred. And somewhere inside, the soul begins to reorganize. I am not who entered those storms. And you remain before the flame. You've entered and remembered the road. You have bowed to unseen protection. You have honored provision. You have thanked even the refining fires. And now something inside has become quiet enough to enter alignment. For gratitude alone is beautiful, but gratitude joined with alignment becomes power. Not forceful power, not controlling power, but coherent power. The kind of power that comes when the inner world stops arguing with what is. Much of human suffering is not created only by circumstance. It is created by friction. The friction of insisting that life should have unfolded differently. The friction of resisting what already is. The friction of comparing this chapter to imagine alternate chapters. The friction of demanding certainty before trust will be given. This friction exhausts the nervous system, exhausts the mind, exhausts the spirit, because no one cannot war continually with reality and remain peaceful. So now, here in the temple, we release the war, not by passivity, not by apathy, but by lawful surrender. Lawful surrender says, I participate fully in life, but I do not demand that I be sovereign over all sequence. There is cause, there is effect, there is timing, there is season, there is gestation, there is ripening, there is visible movement, there is hidden movement. There are laws at work far beyond immediate emotional preference. The seed sends soil, does not accuse the darkness. It develops within the darkness. Winter does not mean life has failed. It means a lawful season is underway. Tides move in and out without apology. The moon does not negotiate its phases. All creation moves by order. And you do too. And you are not outside of this order. Your life has seasons. Your becoming has timing. Your clarity has ripening points. Your openings have appointed hours. What if much of your strain has become from demanding harvests during root season? What if much of your frustration has come from mislabeling gestation as stagnation? What if the unseen is not inactivity, but preparation? Breathe deeply. The body hears these things. The body softens under these things because the body has been living as though everything depends on immediate management. But all of life has never depended solely on your management. You are participant. You are steward. You are witness. You are co-laborer. But you are not solitary architect of the cosmos. Let this realization become relief. I am not required to force all things. Again, I am not required to force all things. I may act, and I may also trust. Now imagine that from above the temple, a wide column of soft golden light begins descending through the crown of your head. Gentle, warm, orderly. This is the field of divine law, not punishment, not surveillance, order, harmony, intelligence, sequence. See this light moving slowly through the mind, untangling overthinking, untangling urgency, untangling complaint, untangling the need to mentally rehearse every uncertain future. Let the forehead soften. Let the eyes open. Let the tongue soften. Let the brain rest in a larger field than personal control. The light now moves into the throat, releasing unspoken tension, releasing the pressure to explain everything, releasing the impulse to defend every chapter. You do not own panic, your loyalty. The light moves into the chest, and here it encounters old contracts, fear, disappointment, protectiveness, guarding the memory of when life hurt. Simply let the light remain, no forcing, just lawful warmth. Say quietly, my heart returns to trust. Again, my heart returns to trust. The light moves into the solar plexus, the center of management, control, responsibility, holding everything together. Feel how much has lived here. The constant scanning, the constant planning, the constant inner bracing. Let the light enter the center and whisper, you may steward without strain. You may participate without panic. You may carry responsibility without carrying the illusion that all outcomes rest solely upon your shoulders. The light moves lower into the belly, into the hips, into the legs, into the feet, grounding, settling, anchoring, as though divine order itself is teaching the body. There is a floor beneath you. You are not failing through empty space. Abundance flows where gratitude resides. Peace flows where surrender is present. Strength flows where resistance softens. Clarity flows where the mind stops shouting. There are laws, quiet laws, reliable laws, and you may come under them now. Whisper within, I align with what is lawful. I release argument with timing. I release complaint as my governing voice. I choose reverence over resistance. Feel the whole body now, as if sitting inside an intelligent field, held, ordered, sequenced, not abandoned to randomness. There are things still unfinished in your life. Yes. There are questions not fully answered. Yes. There are outcomes not yet visible. Yes. But unfinished does not mean unsupported. Again, unfinished does not mean unsupported. Let this become the new inner posture, not frantic, waiting, not suspicious scanning, but stable participation under sacred order. The flame and descending light now become one, inner steadiness, order. You are sitting in the meeting place between them, and this is alignment. Remain for a little while longer in this meeting place of flame and light. There is nothing urgent beyond this moment, nothing that cannot wait for a few more breaths. You have entered remembrance. You have walked the road behind. You have bowed before unseen protection. You have recognized provision. You have thanked the refining fires. You have aligned with sacred order. And now you do not leave this temple empty-handed. You leave carrying a quieter way of being. Feel now that the body is not as clenched as when you arrived. The breath is not as hurried. The chest is not as armored. The mind is not as sharp-edged. Something has been washed, not by force, by remembering. For remembrance is medicine. When the soul remembers, panic loses some authority. When the soul remembers, complaint loosens. When the soul remembers, the nervous system realizes it does not need to live as though every moment is a threat. Bring both hands now in your imagination to rest gently over the heart. Feel warmth there. Feel contact there. Feel the simple human holiness of touching the place that has carried so much. Say within, I honor the road that brought me here. I honor the wisdom that now lives in me. I honor the protection I did not always see. I honor the blessings I will no longer overlook. I honor the trials that made me deeper. I honor the divine order still unfolding my path. Very gently now, see before you a long pathway opening from the temple entrance outward. This is the path of coming hours, the coming days, the unfinished chapters ahead. You do not need to know every turn. You do not need to see every answer. You only need to walk differently than before. Not with frantic grasping, not with inner accusation, not with chronic distrust, but with steadier reverence. Imagine yourself walking this path slowly. The same life may be waiting, the same tasks, the same emails, the same dishes, the same phone calls, the same healing, the same responsibilities. And yet, you are not quite the same walker. Because inner posture changes outer experience. The hurried mind creates one kind of day. The grateful, aligned mind creates another. Circumstances may look similar, but the field within the body becomes entirely different. So, before leaving, make this quiet covenant. I will not rush past my own life unconscious. Again, I will not rush past my own life unconscious. I will notice blessing. I will notice protection. I will notice unnecessary complaint and release it. I will return often to sacred pause, because peace is not found by waiting for all conditions to become ideal. Peace is cultivated by repeated return to remembrance. Let that sentence settle deeply. Repeated return to remembrance. The meditation is not escape. It is recalibration, a return under the laws that stabilize the human spirit. Now the guardians of light around the temple begin to fade away softly, not because they are gone, but because what was outside you symbolically must now be carried inside. The flame before you grows smaller, smaller, until it becomes a tiny golden light resting in the center of your chest. You carry the flame now. You carry the remembrance now. You carry the alignment now. Great Spirit, source of all, infinite presence that orders all lawful things, thank you. Thank you for what has been given. Thank you for what has been withheld. Thank you for what has been taught. Thank you for what has been healed. Thank you for what is still ripening unseen. Guard my thoughts from needless complaint. Guard my words from forgetfulness. Guard my actions from frantic misalignment. Keep me close to what is true. Keep me humble before blessing. Keep me steady inside unfinished chapters. Keep me aware of the sacred hand moving where my eyes cannot yet see. May gratitude be my orientation. May reverence be my pace. May trust be my resting field. May lawful peace govern this body. May I walk in harmony with the great work unfolding within and around me. I remember where I have come from. I remember what has carried me. I remember what has protected me. I remember that I am still being guided. And so I rise, not in haste, but in quiet coherence, not in fear, but in reverent participation, not in complaint, but in gratitude. Not in inner war, but in alignment. Take 3 slow breaths now, breathing in peace, breathing out presence, breathing in trust, breathing out strain, breathing in gratitude, breathing out all that no longer is needed. Rest here in silence now. Long silence. Simple receiving. And when you're ready, I invite you to gently open your eyes. With the remembering, gratitude in its truest form is not simply a positive thought practice. It is not the forced repetition of pleasant words while the body remains tense and unconvinced. True gratitude is the psychological and spiritual recalibration when the mind is continually focused on what is missing, what is uncertain, what is delayed, or what still feels unresolved. The nervous system lives in a subtle state of defense. Something remarkable has happened as we have now entered genuine remembrance, not superficial gratitude, but the deeper remembrance of what has carried us, what has protected us, what has been provided, and even what has refined us through challenge. The body has remembered the truer message. This message comes in unseen order as it's been operating even where full answers are not yet visible. You are called to trust, to receive, to become the witness in the remembering. You are loved. You are enough. You are safe. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste.